You know, not only have we become the first team to win the same game played on 2 days consecutively, we're actually starting to see some decent movements in the transfer window as well. And even going back to yesterday's game, I don't know what that ref was on. Like, you gave a pen that wasn't a pen. You gave a free kick that was not a free kick to begin with. And then the pen happened. And then for the game to even be delayed for over, I don't know, like damn near 2 hours. Like, when have you ever seen a game just held back for that long? Like, it's only in the Club World Cup where you see these very weird situations going on. And the ref was doing everything in his power to make sure Benfica left with something. And they did live with something, with a fat L. That's what they got. It just, look, yesterday's game, I started watching that game. I didn't finish watching that game till what? About close to 10 p.m. Like, yo, it's unreal. But we won that game. We slapped them on 4-1, and we keep it moving. And you're starting to see Maresca, for me at least. Like, look, I'm for some of these, like, subtle or maybe not so subtle formation changes. You try new things, right? At the end of the day, the Club World Cup, it's a serious enough competition. But if you still want to try out things, by all means. This is almost like our preseason before preseason. So I'm not mad at it. It's just certain things we've seen time and time and time again. It just does not work. Gusto and that far post just does not work. Like, Gusto and defending that far post is like a toxic relationship. Like, he keeps getting beat every single time. So, like, Maresca either has to have someone else mark that far post and Gusto not be there. Because every time the ball goes to the far post on his side, we're conceded. Or we're conceding a penalty. It's just, that's just been how it has been throughout the Club World Cup. Like, real talk, every single time Gusto gets beat, we concede a goal. Gusto in midfield does not work. We have seen this time and time again. Gusto in midfield just does not work. It's not a good fit. Even against Esperance, he still played Gusto in midfield. Like, you could have just played Gusto either as a right back or a left back and just had Josh just invert. I think Josh in that role plays much better than Gusto anyway. So you could still have these subtle changes and not be handicapping us. Like, Gusto in midfield is just a terrible idea. Like, Josh has more of an understanding of the role than like Gusto does, and I just don't want to see him in that role. But we beat we beat Benfica. We're in the quarterfinals. We're playing against Esteval in the next round. Look, Esteval, as much as we're waiting for you, we got to send you home, brother. Like, we got to send you home. We got to bring you back. It is what it is. No harm, no foul. You understand what I mean? We're still going to celebrate with you if and when we win this trophy. But yesterday's game was intense. It was crazy, but you're starting to see even before the Conference League final, you started to see an semblance of maturity in some of these guys, at least to me. You're starting to see players who are more focused. You're starting to see players who are more understanding of their roles, their responsibilities, and what they need to be doing. You're looking at your your Caicedos, your Enzos, your Cucurellas, your Levi Coles especially. You're looking at Reece James. When he plays in that right back, right center back role, like, he's a monster, and you're starting to see real maturity in these guys. Like, Palmer hasn't really been Palmer for a minute, but guess what? We're still grinding out results and we're still getting wins on the board and we're still scoring goals. But you could just see like a mindset, change. You could see it's almost like a switch just went off on these guys and they've just matured. Every time we hear this maturity, it's not always about age. It's really about the experience. You could be 22 and still have so much more experience than someone who's older than you, just because of what you've been through, where you've been, your development, your opportunities. And you're starting to see like this team is really starting to get it together. Like, They've been showing some real like maturity. They've been showing some leadership, and it's everybody. It's like a whole team effort. You know, we lost to Flamengo. All right, no big deal. Going on, won the next couple of games. You know, and you're starting to see how there's a togetherness. You know, there's a cohesion. There's a belief in this team. Like, yo, when we want to like step it up, we can step it up. You know, yesterday we got the here we go for Gittens, and that felt like a transfer that has been dragging on for a minute. It felt like it's just been dragging on. But we finally got the here we go. Apparently it was going to be like, was it 55 combined? Let me just pull this up. It's going to be 55 M's combined. There we go. Just pull this up real quick. So, Gittens to Chelsea. Here we go. Deal agreed. Club's a club with Dortmund. Contract until 2032. He always wanted Chelsea. Medical will take place tonight for Jamie. Dortmund accepted last bid, as Fabrice Hawkins reports. And look, Jamie Gittens is one. You know, in as much as it sounds like the word profile, it sounds like the new phrase that everybody wants to use, right? It sounds like the word of the month almost. But you also have to take account, you know, with the fact that we have no right-footed left wingers in this team. If you're looking at all the wing options we have in this team, bar Tyreek George, even playing Cole Palmer out wide sometimes, left foot. Neto, left foot. Noni, left foot. Dewsbury Hall, who's been used out there, left foot. You know, so it's just this guy comes in, and I think for us, he gives us a bit of like a different profile that we need for that position. You know, it's unfortunate that Mudryk is going to be suspended for a couple of years. We sent Sancho back to United. Sterling is definitely not going to feature. So you legit have nobody else. So in comes Gittens. And I think one thing about all these, you know, targets that we've had, you know, that we haven't even landed. Whenever some Chelsea fans don't want a player, that player actually goes and turns out to be really good. And Gittens is one of those that most people aren't really with this deal, to be honest. They think we overpaid. Yes, granted, you're overpaying, but bro, you're overpaying for a lot of things now. Unless you're a certain, you know, team and the player really wants to come to you other than somebody else. You know what I mean? You're looking at the left wing market. You got Garnacho, Leao. Who else you got? Nico Williams looks like he's going to Barcelona potentially. You got Malik Fofana from Lyon. Yo, the options ain't really that great. You understand what I mean? And for me, Gittens just seems like a player that is going to do well. You know, when you have that gut feeling someone is just going to have a good showing and a good outing for you, that's just the gut feeling I get from him. Like, you got a winger who's very explosive. You know, when it comes to 1v1 duels, he wants to take his man on, beat them, and, you know, be dangerous. He likes to shoot as well. You know, cut in and shoot. People complain about Jadon Sancho not doing that often last season. Sancho went games without actually taking a shot on target, even though we knew he could do it. Well, this guy is going to give you that wing play, you know, that explosiveness, that cut in and shoot it. Like, we've missed these kind of players who would just light it up from like range. You understand what I mean? When we used to have your Lampards, Maludas, Anelkas, Drogbas, you know, Balaks, Bellettis, these guys used to just shoot on sight. Like, if they in front of goal, Frank Lampard, he's smacking that. You know, Drogba, he's smacking that. ACN, smacking that. We haven't really had a lot of these guys recently, you know, so I'm okay with this deal because I think he gives us something we don't have. This is a different option we have on that left wing, and we're probably going to bring in somebody else for that wing as well. You know, again, that's somebody I'm going to talk about in a minute, but I like this deal. What it's been reported it's 43. and what, like 13, 12 mil add-ons. I don't know. If that's what it is, great. Base for your 43, which means for you to pay that 55, he's really reached those targets that, you know, are going to be set out in that contract. So I don't really see how it's a big deal. I get it. Gittens should be someone that is probably going for like 30, 35 max. But bro, you have somebody, Dortmund have somebody you want, and you have to pay for them. That's their evaluation of the player. That's what you got to pay. You know, someone who is 2021 has a high ceiling, has so much room for growth, so much scope to grow into, bro. It's just that you take that, bro. You understand what I mean? It's not really like the options are that crazy. So Gittens, you take that and you keep it moving all day. I'm okay with this signing, because when most people don't like a signing we make, most of these guys come in and they do well. Most of these guys come in and we do well. So I am not upset with this deal at all. Jamie Gittens, yo, welcome. We're gonna be supporting you. And also, if I have to pay 55 M's for Gittens to not see Garnacho, I am doing that. And I'm doing that on every day that ends with a Y. I'm sorry. That you gotta understand, Garnacho would have probably went for about 40, 45. And I really don't want to see this guy here at all. It's the baggage that comes with Garnacho that makes it not worth it. Garnacho could have been free, and it's still it's just the headache that comes with it. It's not worth it. So if I have to have Gittens in my team to not have Garnacho, because guess what? If we did not get Gittens, you most definitely believe Garnacho will be a very, very serious consideration. And I know a lot of people don't want to see this guy here. So, and it's not like Gittens is a scrub. Like, he's not. He just hasn't really had that many opportunities at Dortmund. But, you know, that guy has so much scope and so much space to grow in. So, for me, solid deal. I am not mad at this at all. I'm cool with it. Today, we got another. Here we go for this guy right here, João Pedro. Ornstein dropped the bomber. Chelsea reached agreement with Brighton to sign João Pedro. Deal for 23-year-old forward in excess of 50 M's. Personal terms in place. On 7-year contract. Medical being arranged. Brazil international only awarded Chelsea, and will join the FIFA Club World Cup squad. See, I think it's normal banter when you see your rival clubs make certain moves that you'd want to make. João Pedro could have went into Arsenal's team, and on that left wing started over Martinelli and Trossard. João Pedro would have given Liverpool a nice balance on that left alongside Diaz and Cody Gakpo. You know, but you could also play this guy as your forward. If Liverpool signs João Pedro, he plays as that false nine. Look, you guys have been playing Darwin Núñez all season long. You've been playing Luis Diaz centrally. João Pedro goes to Liverpool. He solves that number 9 position for them, because he still gives you, you know, the same kind of qualities Darwin, what'd you call it? Not Núñez, sorry. Diaz will give you, but I think this guy will be a bit more clinical. This guy is a good finisher. Like, let's not be stupid. He's a good finisher. You have Liverpool's team, Salah. You have Diaz on the left, or Gakpo on the left, Salah on the right, João Pedro up front, and Verts behind. That's dangerous. That's goals. That's creativity. That's problems. So let's not act like us signing this guy is a terrible deal. Like what? In excess of 50 M's? Okay, so maybe 50 plus another 5 or even 10 in add-ons. The guy still has to hit those targets for the add-ons to be like effective anyway. Pedro is a good player to have in the squad. Like, you got to look at last season, okay? Last season, we struggled for options. We struggled for different dimensions and dynamics when we played in games. Last season, we had Sancho, Noni, Mudryk, Nkunku, Felix, Jackson, Palmer. Felix barely played Premier League games. Nkunku barely played Premier League games. Normally only had like 8 Premier League goals a whole season. Neto had about kind of similar stats. Sancho had maybe like 4 goals or something like that. Like now you've taken Sancho out of this equation. You've added Joao Pedro. You've added Liam Delap. And you've added Gittens. Like Delap by himself probably guarantees you anywhere between 14 to 18 league goals. Guaranteed. Because when you need to score goals, you need to be able to shoot. Delap is a shooter. Like Delap is a striker. Nicholas Jackson is not. So you put Delap in these positions Jackson was getting himself to, which by the way, Delap gets in these positions as well. Jackson's movement is great. Maybe not box movement, but Jackson has really good movement. But so does Delap. Delap is making runs time and time and time again. You watch our preseason games, he makes so many runs, and he's not really being found by midfielders. Defenders are finding him. So Delap is still going to make those runs. He's going to get into those areas, and I guarantee you he's going to be a better ball striker than Jackson, and he's going to get more goals than Jackson. So for me, that's already an upgrade. Delap, Jackson, even though it might not be an extreme upgrade, that's still an upgrade. A lot of these games we're winning by 1-0. We could have been 2-0 up and iced these games. So let's not act like it doesn't have a domino effect on some of these results we're seeing. A lot of these games where we're missing Jackson and had Neto up front, now you have Delap, you have Joao Pedro, who can still play that position, and potentially we're still looking at Kudus. Kudus can also give you, that false 9 kind of movement, and then you still have Jackson. So for me, like I'm looking at this as it's a clear upgrade into this team, whether you like it or not. From what we had last year to where we finished, because I get it, right? We could have been getting players like, Rodrigo into this team and Leao's and, your Gyökeres and who else could, maybe Ekitike. But you're looking at these prices for Ekitike, 100 million euros. Like nobody wants to pay that for Ekitike, who's had one stellar season. You look at Joao Pedro, Prem proven, it's a fact. He knows the league, no need for, adaptation periods, no need to settle in. The guy could just hit the ground running and he's good to go. Same with Delap. Doesn't need no adaptation. He hits the ground and he's ready to go. Ekitike, you got to give him a little bit of patience. Gyökeres, you still have to see how he's going to perform in the Prem. But you have to also look at, is it financially possible for us based on our wage structure to get some of these guys? Rodrigo's going to be asking for some serious money. Now, we're not trying to be accountants, but the reality is we're not going to throw money for some of these guys. As we've been seeing. Yes, we've seen the briefings. They'll break the wage structure for certain people that, they deem, important, and certain people they deem to really fit those wage brackets. But you haven't seen Chelsea make these moves. So, yes, we want them to make some of these moves. Get a Gyökeres, get a Victor Osimhen, get a Rodrigo in, get a Leao in, get some of these guys that we haven't really gotten. But it's looking like they're not going to do that. We can show displeasure, we can show dissatisfaction, but it's like, you got to look at our board, man. They're really not doing what we want them to do. Like, this is what they're giving us, but for us to then turn around and try to shit on these players because it's not who we want, that's not how it's supposed to move. Like, this guy, Joao Pedro, is a good player. Delap, for me, is an upgrade on Jackson as a 9. Joao Pedro, would you say he's an upgrade on Sancho? Potentially, because Sancho also didn't get you that many goals. Sancho could have been a lot more creative if he had someone like a Delap making runs. But we're not going to be able to see that connection and that dynamic because we sent him back to United. I think Sancho's numbers could have went up with someone like a Joao Pedro, a Liam Delap playing alongside him, because Sancho is a very creative player, very intelligent, very spatial awareness. He knows how to maneuver the ball, and he's quality. But he's not here because we decided not to keep him. So for me, players like this, he's going to bring a lot to the team. And the funny thing is, we all know when we look at the kind of signings we're always being linked to. Like, yes, we could say, yo, give us an Osimhen, let's challenge. Give us a Gyökeres, let's challenge. And we're always going to do that. But on the flip side, we could also be objective about some of these guys that bring it in and saying, you know what, this guy can actually add something to the team, even though he's not a name we were looking at. Like if Chelsea, for some reason, go and, sign Hinkampe, whatever his name is, or someone like, the silver guy from Benfica, or, maybe like a Romero. Even if we signed a Romero, so out of, left field, we haven't really been linked with Romero. But most people would take Romero. Hell, even look at right now. Liverpool are not trying to give Konate that bread. For me, if I was Chelsea, I'll test their resolve. Throw in a little 170 for Konate and see if it moves. Because Liverpool ain't paying Konate that much money. So Chelsea, call Konate's agent and be like, hey, listen, I got a 5-year contract for you ready. I got 160 ready for you. Like, what's up? What you saying? Would you pull up? And if we made moves like these, like, we would accept it. We're not gonna shit on Konate because he's not the target we've been looking for. Konate is a good player. So is Joao Pedro, and so is Liam Delap. So for me, it's just the polarism of these like communications and these conversations. It's just kind of like, yo, people don't like the guy, so yeah, he's a terrible player. If Delap was playing in Germany, or he was playing in Spain, or he was playing in Italy, and he was having those numbers, people will be probably saying something different. If his name wasn't, Liam Delap, if his name was Lisandro, I don't know, Lisandro, let's see, Ekitike, or Liam Ekitike, and he was playing in France, people would be like, oh, yeah, you got it, yeah, go sign this guy. So I think it's just a funny conversation, but I like these moves. I like these 3 attacking reinforcements we've been given. I think it definitely makes a slight, like, it changes our attack. It gives us better options. Do I think Joao Pedro can win me a game? Absolutely. The guy is clutch. He has goals against Arsenal, Man City, United. Like, Tottenham, I believe. Bro, the guy is a big game player. He shows up in big games. So I could see him winning me, I don't know, maybe like 9 points potentially this season. Can I see Delap winning me a couple more games that we should have won last season? Absolutely. It doesn't have to be a goal. It could be an assist. It could be a bit of good player that puts somebody else in a good position, or it could be really good movement to set up somebody else. But I can see that bridge being, that gap being bridged a bit. So for me, I'm just looking at, do these guys come in and improve my team? The answer for me is yes. Joao Pedro, you could also have him on penalty spots, and he'll convert. When Palmer is not really in that mood to be scoring this pens, when you have a certain high stake game and Palmer is like, yo, you know what? I ain't feeling it. Pedro can take it and he can convert. Even though Palmer's always going to take our pens. Unless he keeps missing, that's probably when they're going to do the switch up. But look, objectively, I'm cool with these signings. I still believe we go back in for Mike Maignan. And the funny thing is, if Chelsea had signed Mike Maignan, and then we had, Joao Pedro, Liam Delap, Gittens, people will look at the transfer market a lot differently. Guaranteed. And it will be, okay, you know what? You have resolved these issues and these areas we're looking for, but it's not going to be as bad as it is right now. Like, granted, yes, Mike Maignan absolutely improves our defense, for sure. But so does this guy and Delap moving forward. And even Gittens. Like I said, I see Joao Pedro getting me 10 to 12 Prem goals. In this current Chelsea team, I'll say 10 to 12. Liam Delap already said 14 to 18. Gittens will probably chip in with like 5. That's damn near 30, 40 goals already. 14, 10, that's 24. Give me another like 5, 6. That's 30 extra goals in the Prem. These three guys alone can probably win me some more points that I didn't win last season. We were behind Man City. We only fell behind Man City by like what, 4 or 5 points? Like, do these guys get me that 4 extra points? Yes, granted, Man City have also strengthened. Absolutely. Teams are also going to get better. Liverpool just got better. Man City got definitely better. Arsenal, they're just Arsenal actually got worse. Let's call it what it is. Arsenal got worse, and their informed players haven't shown that they're going to be on the app. Like Odegaard, we don't know if he's going to be good or not. They're losing Thomas Partey on a free. Bro, that's already a massive, massive step down. He was their best midfielder last season. Thomas Partey, not in that midfield, is going to leave such a big gap. Like, the reason why Rice is able to go forward and do what he does is because Thomas Partey covers him up. He's mobile like that. Yes, you got Zubimendi coming in and Norgard from Brentford. Is he from Brentford? Yes. But Partey leaving alone is such a big downgrade already. You've lost Jorginho, so Arsenal haven't massively improved. They're getting Mascara in. They got Kepa in. They're trying to get either Sesko or Gyökeres. We don't know. Hell, they're being linked with Ekitike right now. But have we strengthened? I believe we have. Have they strengthened? Nah, I wouldn't say so. Because losing Partey for me already negates a lot of the work you do. Now you're looking at Tottenham. Have they really strengthened? Nah. United, yes. They're about to sign, and boom, they're about to sign Cunha. But there's so much more work for that team to be done. But I know at least they wouldn't be 15th. United, for me, with these two players, I believe are going to be around top 8. You understand what I mean? But I'm excited about how the transfer market is shaping up. Like I said, I believe we're going to still get a good goalkeeper in. But Yashila limped off with injury. I think we're potentially going to go in for a defender, and we're going to see. Like, the transfer market is nowhere near being done. We have time, but we've gotten 3 deals in already. I'm liking the shape of it. And we're not done yet because apparently we're still looking at Mohamed Kudus, Antonio Silva from Benfica, Mike Maignan are still on the list. And Kudus just looks like it's a matter of time before something materializes. We do know West Ham have been showing interest in Robert Sanchez. So Kudus, money, Sanchez, that could be a deal that could be worked out. Noni is being targeted by Arsenal. Noni is he's been made available. I'm not even gonna lie. I feel like he's been made available to be sold. And the fact that teams like Arsenal, which is a concrete reported, are looking at Noni, discussing him internally. I would not be surprised to hear sometime next week. Arsenal in advanced talks with Noni Madueke. Personal terms are not going to be a problem. Noni keen on deal. Clubs are in communication. Like, don't be surprised to see something like that. That Noni deal goes for somewhere between 45 M's with like maybe a few add-ons, or like 40 plus like 5 add-ons, and you sell Noni, and then you got that money. You go in for Kudus, you add that bread, you add Sanchez, you say, all right, here you go. Here's your package right here. Give me Mohamed Kudus. Or, you add a little bit of money, Sanchez, you get Kudus, you go back to AC Milan. So I know we were talking about this Mike Maignan deal for a minute. I know we're down to like 6 mil. Look, I can give you best price right now, 18 million pounds. Let's get this deal done. Because I'm not giving you 30 for Mike Maignan. I can have it for free. I can give you 18 though. I'll give you 20 max. Let's see what we could do. Now you've gotten Kudus in, Mike Maignan. You still got your 3 attackers. You get an extra defender. Now you eating good. Now we're in a position of like strength going into next season. Because like Neto for me was somebody that I wanted to see improve. And I even said on a stream, like, I'll sell Neto for 45. But when a player also just starts to show you more, you're like, you know what, bro? Fair play. At the end of the day, we want our perspective and our responses to be altered by performances. So if Neto is going to be killing it like this, bro, I'm cool. Yeah, Neto can be frustrated, and as fans, we can speak from an emotional, perspective at the end of the day. Whether we're right or we're wrong, that's what we fans are entitled to do. We're entitled to make emotional responses. We're entitled to make very, calculated and smart and have those kind of, responses. But as a fan, bro, don't let nobody tell you how to feel. At the end of the day, it is what it is. But if Neto, with his form, keeps it going, now you bring in Kudus, who Kudus is definitely going to like a change of, environment from West Ham to Chelsea. It's a big step up. Kudus is going to be talking to ACN and all these guys. Your Drogba's, your ACNs, Mikel's. They're going to let him know, brother, this place, we here seriously. Like, we do serious business over here. Kudus will start showing up. Now, all of a sudden, your forward line you brought in goals. You brought in creativity. You've brought in pace, power. You brought in finishing. Like, you're telling me a front four of like a Cole Palmer on one side and Mohamed Kudus on one side. You throw in, your Joao Pedro on the left wing and then Liam Delap. That's so much power, pace, finishing. Like, that's just a lot. And then you still have Neto on the bench, Estevao on the bench. You have Gittens on the bench. You have Jackson on the bench. Bro, like, we going to be fine at the end of the day. So I'm really excited about these deals that we're making. I think for me, at the end of the day, these guys are going to move some sort of a needle, and I guarantee, I think we're going to be guaranteed a top 4 spot anyway, because I think we have, we're getting to a good place right now. We're getting to a good place. So I'm excited about these signings, man. In other news, other teams, Flamengo, when they dunked on us, they were talking real spicy. And funny thing is, everyone was like, yo, look at the way Bayern is slapping off Flamengo. Did you watch what we did to Benfica, or did you not? Benfica had Bayern's number, and we beat Benfica. So, like, I don't understand this, like, trying to dunk it on us. Flamengo did all that talking, and they're going home. You know what I mean? Great team, though. Great team. I love that for them. They wanted that game more than we did at the end of the day. But there's always somebody bigger than you. There's always somebody else ready to do you dirty. You understand what I mean? So it is what it is. But so far, look, transfer window has started. I'm enjoying the moves we're making. It's been very slow burn, but we've made some very, very important moves. And I'm excited to see who else we bring in. Now, if we bring in a Kudus, like, and think about it too. The intricate play and like us being able to just win fouls in so many dangerous areas. If you have Delap in your team, you've already increased, or you've brought the height, in your team up. You're bringing a Joao Pedro. That's somebody also with height. Tosin, height. Caldwell, winning aerial duels now. That's another, now that's another offensive weapon you have. Now you can have Neto throwing those crosses in, back post. Like, we'll be eating at the end of the day. So it's just, look, we're bringing in players that are going to show intensity, people who are going to bring in some sort of like aggressive, play to the team. And when we say we want aggressiveness, we're not talking of foolishness, because Jackson has been on some foolish things. Joao Pedro has been on some nonsense too at Brighton. But you want people that will be able to like bring a little bit of shithousery to your team, rattle your opponents a little bit. You got Delap in people's faces. You got Pedro in people's face. Like, when we had Diego Costa, him being able to stir stuff up, you could just tell it just pulled the whole team with him. Like, we knew we were in a battle that day. Like, Costa said, yo, I'll take you to battle. Just come with me. That's the kind of vibe that, Delap and this guy will bring, as long as it's all controlled. Because at the end of the day, look, even the chill players can act out. But as long as it's controlled and as long as it's in a positive way, I'm with that. You got to let people bring, you got to have people who bring that dog in them into this team. And that's what we need, bro. We need people with some serious balls. We need people with some serious belief in their, capabilities. and people who can contribute. And so far, all these 3 signings, I think they will all contribute. So I'm cool with it. But guys, I'm gonna catch you on the next video. Like, subscribe, share the content, hop in the comments, let me know how you feel about these deals. I know rivals ain't gonna be, speaking too highly of it, and as usual, that they're not supposed to do that. You know what I mean? But I'm enjoying it. I think we're gonna be cooking a little something nice. And if we go on to win this club World Cup, oh my God. Like, even with the season we had, like, you still have players choosing us over other people. Pedro could have went to Newcastle. He said, I only want Chelsea. Delap could have went to United. He said, I only want Chelsea. You know what I mean? Bayern came in for Gittens. He said, I just want Chelsea. So we still have people who believe in this club, and maybe you should too. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Peace.